I think Fnaf lost what made it so special. Since Security Breach, the franchise has gone down the path of a typical mascot horror game, even though Fnaf was the first one. Mascot horror games don't even try to be scary, and some people might say that this design is scary because it has big sharp teeth and creepy eyes, but this isn't how scary works. Sure, it's kinda scary, but when I look at this, it doesn't fill me with fear. What made Fnaf so unique in terms of horror was its designs and atmosphere. In Fnaf 1, when you look at the animatronics, you know they're animatronics, but their eyes are uncanny to a human. Their movements, while robotic, shows there's something humane in the way they move. They look like any animatronic, but they're on the uncanny line of looking human, which makes you feel uncomfortable, and the sounds they make just add more to it. Freddy playing music, Foxy sprinting, Bonnie breathing heavily when he's inside the office. We know that they have the souls of the missing children, so now we're not surprised if they make human sounds, but still, this isn't something you can get used to. I feel like Fnaf has strayed from the path of what made it so scary. Some people say it started from Security Breach or from Pizza Simulator. I say that the client showed from Sister Location. Now, this doesn't mean Sister Location is a bad game, nor do I think it's not scary. I just think that since Sister Location, the core reason of what made Fnaf so terrifying began to stray. These animatronics are scary, hell their eyes are downright terrifying, but they were just animatronics. What I mean is that there's no uncanny valley. While Sister Location did genuinely make you feel like you were trapped and surrounded by animatronics, the animatronics themselves weren't what made the game scary. It was the atmosphere. I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but when the animatronics themselves don't instill fear into you other than jump scares, it kinda misses the point. And it's understandable because the Funtime animatronics weren't made to be realistic, they were made for children. Obviously Fnaf 1's animatronics were also made for children, but they were made to look real, like actual animals. Their furs were soft, their textures were rough, unlike the Funtime animatronics where they were shiny and glossy. Pizzeria Simulator as a setting is pretty scary. You're in a tight room where you're next to vents and any animatronic can just come by, and not to mention that one of your job is to test the salvaged animatronic that you already met before in the previous games. But the problem is still the same. I understand that these are scrap animatronics so they look like this regardless, but I mean look at Funtime Freddy. Lefty is the least scary one here. I understand narratively this is important and crucial to the lore, but I'm strictly talking design here. And this might apply to Fnaf 3 and 4, but I consider Springtrap's design in Fnaf 3 as one of the best designs in horror, other than his god-awful jump scare. I've already made a video on why Fnaf 4 is the scariest, but if we're just talking design here, the Nightmare animatronics are terrifying. Even Scott Cawthon said that he made them out of his dreams. Like, look at them. Imagine your reaction when you open the door and see that. Now, I'm not saying the games that I consider not scary to have scary elements. I still think Sister Location is the most underrated Fnaf game when it comes to horror because it was so different. A lot of people didn't like the game, but I consider it one of Scott's best works. It was so different, but it still knew how to scare you, and that is hard to do. To change so much and still know how to be scary, that is difficult. Ultimate Custom Night doesn't apply to this because it wasn't made to be scary, it was made to be a challenge. Do I think Fnaf can be scary again? Yes, I fully believe Fnaf has the potential to be one of the most terrifying horror games of all time. Hell, it still is. I just think that they've lost their way when it comes to horror in favor of lore dumping. I love the lore of Fnaf. I love the lore of Fnaf. It's one of the most intricate and rich lore I've ever seen. But the more I read the newer books and look at the future projects, the more I feel like it's getting absurd. Like Phasgoo and Remnant. I don't know why they have to add lore just for the sake of it. I feel like it's catering to children when most of the fans are either teenagers or grown-ups. I want Fnaf to have that same vibe as the old trailers. I don't want this or this. I want genuine dread. I want Fnaf to have that uncanny valley again. I'm not complaining about the newer games. I still believe they're good games. But let's be honest here, if you were in 2014 and played Fnaf 1 and I showed you that this is what Fnaf looks like in the future, would you be happy? Would you be okay with this? Regardless of any of this. Fnaf 4 is the best Fnaf game of all time. I don't give a fuck. Like, that shit is peak. The RPG is so fucking good. I love RPG games when it's used right. It's so basic, but it's so fucking fun. I love it so goddamn much. Fnaf 4 is the best goddamn best game of all time. I love it so much. It's so good. Scott Cawthon, you made a peak-ass game. Why do you hate it? This shit is so peak, my guy.